Thank you, guys. You'll be back on deck. Get the government out of the way. Simple as that. The #1 realtor in America, the top of the top, the big kahuna, Dolly Lenz. She scores what's up next for housing. That's next. In 2011, will it be a good year for business? Text buy, sell, or hold to 369-249. Coming right back. All right. Our government has done its best to destroy the American dream by first, of course, inflating the housing bubble. They were innocent. And then interfering to save the real estate market. Well, the level of government interference, believe it or not, is a lot lower, according to our next guest, real estate legend, Dolly Lenz. I just like to say that. For her, she says the writing's on the wall for a real estate recovery. All right, first off, you're the New York kahuna, but let's get a little national here. Interest rates are historically low. They're being suppressed by the Federal Reserve, et cetera. Could we get a housing recovery if interest rates were to come back because we have a growing economy, a little inflation comes in, and go back to just normal? Will people still be able to afford these houses?
People did. You know, we had super high prices and we had 8% interest rates, and that didn't stop anybody from jumping in.
Yeah, but you could like breathe into a mirror and get a 100% loan.
True.
And now you got to put like 20% down like a real person.
Yeah, you got to actually fill out an application, sign it, provide a tax return. Wow.
I know, it's insane.
Yeah.
But so your point is, they were able to do that before. But even in this restrictive...
I really believe you could get it done. You know, if people have confidence in the product, paying 8% for it isn't the problem. The problem is supply and demand. There's too much supply, not enough demand. That's the problem. Unemployment has to be fixed, otherwise there won't be demand.
Fixed?
Yes, fixed.
Who's going to fix it?
You are.
Listen, this is just a talk show. Now, so employment needs to come down. You need more people in the workforce. But, you know, the average white-collar worker over 30 years old with a college education here in the United States, the unemployment rate's about 4.5%.
Right.
So they're the ones who are buying the houses. But how about the first-time buyers?
Yeah, the first-time buyers are going to need to also have 20% down payments, borrow from their parents, do whatever they need to do, live at home. What a novel approach, until they have enough money to saved up. That's what people did. We've forgotten all these basic rules.
Right, so this is back to the future. You know, the idea. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the two completely bankrupt organizations that the federal government sponsored.
Yes. $150 billion?
Yeah. They're buying all of the mortgage under $729,000 a year.
Which is pretty much 90% of the mortgage is being given.
Right. So, you know, if they go away or their lending is curtailed, who's going to step in to fill the breach here?
Well, we're going to have to let the capital stack work. We're going to have to let the banks lend. You know, right now that's all being suppressed also.
Right.
So we're going to have to let that go and let banks lend.
All right. So you got to think about inflation. Now, I come from Southern California. I remember in 1989, we had the bumper stickers that said, "Dear Lord, just give me one more round of hyperinflation, and I promise I won't throw the money away this time."
Exactly.
You're saying that, are you like wishful thinking here? Are you talking your own game?
You want hard assets during inflation, right? As a hedge against inflation.
Well, in theory. But what if, but if inflation goes up, then interest rates are going to go up because it indicates are a function of future. So what's the interest rate, do you think, that starts to be a tipping point where people start to say,
Above 8% starts being a little eerie.
Yeah, but if you're as old as me, you'd remember the 18% mortgage I had on the first house.
I remember 18%.
Yeah. I mean, that was, and you know, somehow we made that too, and put 20% down.
Exactly.
Of course, on the other house, the house was $75,000.
That's true.
New York, tell us about New York. Now, one of the things, I was arguing with Colonel Peters about China, and but a little birdie tells me that there's a fair amount of Chinese buying real estate all over the United States, but particularly here in New York.
Yeah, particularly here in New York, Chinese, Europeans, all kinds of people from all over the world, because New York is really the last bastion of democracy. I know we may not think so, but in fact it is around the world.
Don't get David Aspen started though. Okay. So bottom line, we bottomed, but it's going to take a while to crawl out of here.
New York City, I think, bottomed quite a while ago, so we're out of that.
New York City's,
exactly. But if we're talking Vegas, we're talking Florida, we're talking other areas, those I don't think they've bottomed yet. I think they have a ways to go because of the supply.
Just too much.
Foreclosures are coming into play.
Right.
And inventory that's been held off, the shadow inventory, is going to come into play. I mean, that's going to kill that whole dynamic between supply and demand. And so they're going to tread along the bottom for a while.
All right, so the guys that had the worst, that went up the highest, come down, that's natural.
Right.
Get the government out of the way and we'll clean this inventory, I believe.
Exactly. And you know, it'll take 2 to 3 years, but we'll get it done.
That's why you're the king. Excuse me, the queen of real estate here in New York. Good to have you, Dolly. All right, on deck.